So, this week is Holy Week. The Bible tells us that Jesus had many friends. He liked to be with them and taught them many things. Yet the time came for his passion. That meant that it was time for him to suffer and die and pay for the sins of the whole world. That is what Holy Week is all about. Since Jesus knew he would die soon, he shared a very special meal with his friends that is called the Lord's Supper. And at the Lord's Supper, Jesus did the unthinkable. He washed the disciples' feet. In John 13, it says this: "So he got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, and wrapped a towel around his waist. After that, he poured water into a basin, and he began to wash the disciples' feet, drying them with a towel that was wrapped around him." And then later on in the verse, the chapter, it says this. Jesus is saying this. It says, "You call me teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that is what I am. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you should also wash one another's feet. I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you." So guess what? Guess what we're fixing to do? We're going to wash each other's feet. Are y'all ready? That's right.
It was just before the Passover feast. Jesus knew that the time had come for him to leave this world and go to the Father. Having loved his own who were in the world, he now showed them the full extent of his love. Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power and that he had come from God and was returning to God.
To worship thee. You alone are my strength, my shield. To you alone may my spirit yield. You alone are my heart's desire, and I long to worship thee. You're my friend, and you are my brother, even though you are a king. I love you more than any other, so much more than any.
So, what do you think the disciples thought when Jesus washed their feet?
Good. Clean.
Clean? Yeah.
And good.
Yeah. What do you think Jesus was trying to teach the disciples?
And wash their feet.
How to wash their feet?
Yeah.
What do you think, Arabelle?
I think that Jesus was teaching them how to wash each other's feet.
Like us, the disciples learned more from modeling and demonstrating than by just being told what was right. So right before his death, Jesus exemplified love, explained it, and then encouraged his disciples to follow his example. Jesus has demonstrated his love through the Gospels, especially in the Gospel of John. But I really like this part. He put his words into action. The Lord's willingness to wash the feet of his disciples, even Judas's feet. Jesus did not come to be served, but to serve. This reflects servant leadership at its best. I encourage you to read John 13 this week. There is so much good stuff going on in this chapter, especially the beautiful picture of forgiveness in verse 10. You could say love is one of the ultimate marks of being a Christian, how we treat other people. Foot washing is a good example of how we should treat one another. It demonstrates humility and servanthood, behaving towards others the way he behaved towards the disciples. It's about doing something you may not want to do for someone else. Forgive, serve, and love our brothers and sisters in Christ. So go wash somebody's feet this week.